This guy's called the Standing Streamer.
Wrestling with Regret, and you're watching Putting You Over.
That'll work. Boom. Boom, baby. We know best. All right, fix the mic. What's up, Tommy Streamer? How's it going? What's going on? Headphones on. Broken headphones, by the way. Vanessa is here, which gives me plenty of time now to do what I need to do.
Hello. Oh, he muted himself.
Yeah, I'm here.
You're good?
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be.
No, you're good.
Yeah,
Ethan, you're good. You're good.
I thought I joined like the Weather Channel or something.
Oh.
The first thing I was hearing was stuff about tornadoes and
yeah. I was just
yeah.
I was just saying I'm in upstate New York, and I was just letting people know in the live chat there's a severe thunderstorm warning here, and I guess there's a tornado warning like 30 miles away. I don't know how fast tornadoes move, but I was like, hey, you never know, we might just disappear like this, but we'll play it by ear. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm pretty good. How are you? Other than the tornadoes.
Other than the weather?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm holding in there. I've been in this house since March. And although it sounds really fun with my cool bar and all the cool video game stuff I have, I live in a house with 3 daughters and a wife. And being stuck in here, no offense, Vanessa, since March with these people has driven me insane. How about yourself during the pandemic?
Oh yeah, much of the same. Just cooped up and like trying to find new hobbies.
That's a good transition. Yeah. I always ask a question on here about hobbies and traits and things you've learned and picked up during the pandemic. Have you picked up anything cool that you can use in or out of the ring?
No.
No, not at all.
Turns out I'm not good at very many things. No, yeah, I kind of taken it a bit, I guess, as an opportunity to just kind of to take a bit of a mental break from the grind. On maybe just let everything digest. Yeah. You know, not get too worried or stressed about it. Yeah. So it has its good moments and its bad moments where you start I start missing the stuff that I enjoyed about it, but then there's the stuff that I didn't enjoy that I'm not missing. Yeah. So not having to travel and things like that, it's, you know, nice little break. But then the biggest thing is I forgot what normal people do, I guess. So
I don't know what normal people do.
So yes,
you're talking to the wrong guy.
I get this extra time, and it's just I don't know what to necessarily do with it. And
Yeah.
that, that's when the itch kind of comes, because even it was at minimum, at bare minimum, it was something to do, something to look forward to, something
Yeah.
to I don't know, like pursue a goal,
Yeah.
something, purpose.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the void,
Yeah,
I suppose.
we've had several independent wrestlers on here, and their first answer to the pandemic was, "Oh man, I was so happy to rest and just like recoup my brain and have a mental rejuvenation." But then as the months go on, it's like you're falling back down. You're like, I gotta get out. I mean, because you guys you're every weekend you're going somewhere, and you're
Yeah.
having that camaraderie, and you're having those matches, or not even the matches, but just the socializing. Getting to every show is probably the worst of it. Not having that.
But you're like, you're socializing, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
It's just like with any job, I suppose you form these habitual relationships, and you don't realize it at the time, but you kind of depend on circumstances to bring you together with your friends all the time. And then once that's gone, it's like, oh, I gotta put an effort now to maintain relationships. What's this? It feels strange.
Exactly. I gotta. Yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough, and for me personally, I've gone up and down. I've had my good days. I've had my bad days, and I guess that's what normal people do. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Although my beer consumption's gone up, and that's not the greatest, but oh well.
Yeah.
Happens. Your first wrestling, you've probably I mean, it's a dumb question because I know your answer. I'm going to say, what's your first wrestling memory? And you're going to probably tell me that you've watched wrestling since you were a kid. But is there anything unique in there? Anything I'm missing? Was it big in your house? Did your parents watch it?
No. So the first memory I have of it was actually, and I couldn't even tell you because it wasn't WWF.
Right.
I know that for sure.
That's good.
I feel like it was like a rerun of an NWA thing or something, and I was at a neighbor's house because they were babysitting me, and it was just on TV, and it was my friend's dad that was just telling me who some of the guys were. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't remember. I don't remember anything, but that was the first time that I saw it, and then it was just Weekend Superstars. It was like after X-Men, something like that.
Saturday morning cartoons.
Whatever else was on, and then I think at lunchtime on Saturday was wrestling, and my parents didn't want me watching it with my brother, my twin brother.
Oh.
Yeah, and so one year for Christmas, my brother asked for a TV. It's just ended up being like this little tiny thing, but he had it set up in his room, and I remember on Superstars, I thought that was just the wrestling show and that's all it was. But then they would always show clips from like Raw, and I didn't understand what it was. I was like, "What's this other wrestling that I'm missing?" And then somehow we found out that on Mondays at 9 it was on TV, but it was after bedtime.
Yeah.
And I would sneak into his room. So we slept upstairs. My parents were on the main floor, so I would sneak into my room at 9 or 10 or whenever it was on, and we'd try to keep quiet watching it. And then once it was over, I'd sneak back in my bed.
That's awesome.
But those are my early memories of it. And I wish I had a cooler story, but
nah, everyone's got their own story.
I could probably make something up.
We could.
Yeah.
We could make up an origin story. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I appreciate the way you worded the question, because it's usually the first question asked.
Right.
I hate giving the answer because it's just you want something that's exciting, but it's
well. What I've been coming to learn as I slowly get more wrestlers on, independent wrestlers, all sorts of wrestlers. They're kind of sick of that question. They're kind of sick of, when you started, where you trained, all those scripted questions at the start. I just feel that maybe they don't like to be asked them every single time, always. So I've been trying to find different ways to do it.
Yeah, it's the icebreaker,
Yeah.
small talk. Like I would have come in and asked about the weather, but you're already talking about tornadoes, so you had mine. Like I already blew that.
See?
So
I start off like that.
yeah.
One night I insulted Thunder Rosa, the NWA Women's Champ. I said she looked exhausted. I literally started off the interview by telling her she looked
my
exhausted.
God.
It was terrible. That's all right. She's great. You brought something up earlier in your story, your first memory, and I didn't know if I would touch on it tonight because I just didn't know how things were going to flow. But I found it interesting that, and stop me if I'm out of line, that he was your twin brother. I heard you telling a story about your tour in Japan with, oh gosh, I lost the name now. Let me check my notes. Mike Bailey. And you had gotten some news about your brother at that time, and Mike Bailey was there for you. How is...
That was it's my other brother.
Okay.
I have two. I have a twin and
Okay.
a half brother.
Okay.
So that was my half brother. But he's in remission now.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and we just learned about that pretty recently. So things.
Yeah, that's great.
So I think he went. I think it was the year checkup.
Yep.
So it would have been about a year, and then things looked really good.
Yeah.
But
that's good.
yeah, that was. Yeah, that was this. That was definitely a rough one.
Yeah. I literally just was very hesitant on how I wanted to ask it because I did do some research. I did learn that, and then you brought it up, so I was like, oh. And then as I'm asking, I'm thinking, oh, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't do this. That would be
the line. Don't. No, I'm not bothered at all. I mean, I did speak about it before as well, so it'd be very unfair.
Yeah.
Like if I got mad at you, like right now about it. But yeah. So I guess for those watching that don't know, on my tour in Japan, it was I think into the second week of it, and we were on one of the subway to go to the next show or to the head office in Tokyo, I think. And I just got on the train Wi-Fi got a message from my girlfriend letting me know that my half brother, my brother had they discovered a tumor in his brain, and it was just this moment for me where this wrestling in Japan is something that I wanted to do for a really, 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 really long time, and I was finally doing it and actually on my way to an event. And then when I got that news, I just broke down crying in the train, and it was weird because it like if you saw somebody just burst out crying in a train, like a stranger, like you wouldn't know what to do, especially with the culture over there. Everyone's quite polite and reserved for the most part. So it felt very lonely. But Mike Bailey was there. He was in his phone, and then looked up. He probably heard me like sniffle or snort or something, and then didn't even ask. Just came over and sat next to me, put his arm on me and everything, and then asked what happened, and I told him, and I was super appreciative of that because he, over the next several days, kept checking up on me as well, asking how everything was going, and being able to give somebody over there updates was really helpful, but in that moment it was I think I have to go home type thing.
Yeah.
And just that challenge of I work so hard to be here, but right now it feels wrong. I shouldn't be here. I should be at home. And so I spoke to my mother and father and everything, and they kind of talked me down off that ledge as well.
Yeah.
But that one was rough for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's switch gears. He's in remission.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
No, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great to hear. So I'm happy to hear that. You've been wrestling for a long time. I'd say your debut was in 2007.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
But Psycho Mike, not Mike Rollins, because Psycho Mike, probably came around in 2009. Who is Psycho Mike, and how does it come about?
How did it start?
Yeah.
So originally, so I was Mike Rollins, and that was just a name. I had to pick one, right? And my real last name is Oberegger, and I thought it would be fun to chant. It's 4 syllables.
Overrager. That is a good one. That is good.
Right.
Yeah.
And then but everyone, NXT wasn't there yet, but everyone had cool like names. It was like Lex Luger, Razor Ramon, like cool name like Oberegger. Like what the hell is that? So everyone was saying I couldn't use it. I should change it. And I'm a big fan of Henry Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of wanted to do something inspired by music. So I was in a band with some buddies at the time, and so I just picked Rollins as the surname. And I wanted to keep my first name just because I didn't want to be literally the only reason was I didn't want to be in a public place and have somebody call me like Greg or something.
Right.
When I just say Mike, and everyone can remember that. And but I was really struggling to find myself. Like you're asking, like who was I? And like I wasn't really anybody. And I was trying on different colors of tights and different looks and things like that. And at a certain point, I tried not painting my face. I actually went and bought some pretty expensive like cosmetic makeup and eyeliner and I don't even know what you call it, but it was. And I was trying to go for like this gothic Baron Samedi look, which wasn't me at all, but I wasn't getting booked as often as I wanted. So I was just trying anything. And then another promoter in the area who was running a podcast called The O Show, Big Daddy Donnie, who I'd become like acquaintances with.
Mm-hmm.
Just gave me a call once, like out of the blue, and started asking about this look. And he said that he had this idea for a tag team that he wanted to do at the show he was booking, where he would tag me with Crazy Steve, and he came up with the name Psycho Mike. And it was one of those things where I thought that I hated the name at the time, right?
Yeah.
I think it is definitively in a vacuum. Like it's a stupid name, right? No one wants to like be referred to as that. But just like over time, we'd be at like the restaurant or something, and then I'd say something funny, and then they would just start chanting Psycho Mike, and it became kind of a meme with us, and I fell in love with the name. We ended up doing like a very short run with the tag team before I think that the promotion just went under or something like that. But I like the name, and they kind of stopped with the face paint and everything. So I went with Psycho Mike Rollins for a while, and then Seth Rollins debuted on TV. I think it was an FCW or NXT, and I said, well, I can't use Rollins anymore.
Yeah.
So I just said Psycho Mike. And what it was like when people find out you wrestle, they say, what do you call yourself? Like the Terminator or something? Or like, what are you, like the Ultimate Destroyer? Like they come up with all these silly names. Yeah. And I just like, well, Psycho Mike, right? Like if people are thinking like that's what pro wrestlers call themselves, I'll just do that. And then that's what that was. And it just kind of at around that time at C4, I started working with C4, and there was just this turning point. I tagged with Josh Alexander in a match against a 2.0, who are in NXT right now. And we were supposed to be the babyface.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on what their tag name is.
I am too. I can't ever get it. I call them the generic.
That's why I was moving on quickly and sweeping it under the rug.
Go on, 2.0.
Yeah. And we were supposed to be the baby faces and they were the heels, but they were really over at C4 and they were very, charismatic and everything. And I just remember like during the entrance, they grabbed my jacket and did an elbow drop on it. And the crowd popped. And I looked at Josh and they just said, well, this sucks because we're supposed to be the good guys and they liked them more than us. And I kind of had this like epiphany, like just in this moment where I'm like, well, if I shit the bed, am I allowed? Oh, sorry. Should I not curse?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
My shirt says Dick Kick City.
No, it says D Star.
Oh,
CK.
that's true. That's right. D Star, D Star,
Yeah.
CK City. But yes, go ahead. Ever rise.
So I figured, like, if I shit the bed right now, like, I'm not coming back to this place anyway. So I'm just gonna go down swinging, and I just stopped caring. Like I'm gonna touch on this point again in a second, but so when we started the match, I just kind of lost control of myself, and I ended up doing a people's elbow to one of their ring jackets, and the crowd popped, and then I ran and you've played No Mercy before, right? The N64 game, and you tackle each other, and they just kind of stare at each other like that. Like we ran that spot, and we did a thumb wrestle, and it's still one of my favorite matches. It's a sentimental favorite, especially. And then afterwards, both Jeff and Matt came up and they were really happy with it. The promoter came up and said like, we didn't have room for you on the next show, but like I'll find something, but we'll get you back on like the one after. And then I started working with them full time for a few years.
Wow. And
it was just kind of that breakout moment for me where when I stopped thinking about who I was supposed to be, I was just kind of myself. And I just did it because I didn't care.
Yeah.
And I remember like a piece of advice that I got much later on, which kind of, I think, validated that feeling was go out there like you're already going to be fired. Like if you already know you're going to get fired, what would you do? Like you wouldn't care, right?
Right.
So I was like, I don't mean like literally, I'm already getting fired. I'm just going to go, take a shit in the middle of the ring. So nothing like that. But yeah, that was it. So like Psycho Mike, for the longest time was just like a celebration of the things that make pro wrestling great. It's supposed to be like a satirical parody on pro wrestling. Harkens back to the 80s style as well. That was very like my original promo style. And for a long time, it's like I see Warhorse right now, and like he's taken off in the last year. And when I read interviews that he's saying, like he's giving a lot of the same answers.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So I'd say from like 2010 to 2012, maybe 09 to 12, I was my inspiration or my intent, everything was very similar to what Warhorse is doing. We're doing right now. Just Warhorse is doing it obviously doing it a whole lot better than I was back then. But we had very
getting the right
similar
eyes.
Inspirations. Yeah.
Oh, someone in the chat, actually no, not someone. Vanessa said 2.0 is Ever Rise.
Ever Rise. That's it.
So
I think 2.0 is such a better name.
No. It is. We'll just we'll edit this in post for YouTube.
Yeah.
We'll push out later, and it sound like we know.
Yeah. So I had a match with 2.0, and in NXT there are Ever Rise.
That's right. Ever Rise. They're great.
Just put like a very blatant edit there.
Now. You brought it up, Psycho Mike. First of all, you're not psycho. Which is
and that drives me, dude. It drives me nuts when I can't tell you when someone is just you do this because you're crazy, right, or something like that. I'm like, well, I'm not like an idiot, right? I take my character seriously. I like more seriously than I compare it to anybody else. The amount of like how serious I take it. So when people are saying, I often got this for a long time where it was you need to be more serious out there.
Yeah,
it's like I'm taking things deathly seriously. It's just that my style's different.
Yeah,
and my style tends to make people laugh, or it tends to make people smile, and it just makes them feel something different. But it's not that I'm not taking it seriously, because to me that implies that I don't care, right? And if I change that process or the intent, then I'm not good anymore. I'm less good. It's less entertaining. I have less value. So that's something I've been very resistant to.
Yeah.
For a long time. Yeah. But
do
maybe I'm wrong.
Do you
maybe
like?
I'm screwing up.
No, we were talking about this before. I was trying to describe who you were and all this. And do you like the term comedy wrestling? Do you like that term?
Like it's fine. I think it's a bit of a loaded term.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it gets used as a pejorative. When
That
people
word
I don't
is
like
way
comedy.
over my head.
Oh, like an insult.
Okay.
Like a
gotcha.
term. Yeah, something that's something like an unflattering term.
Okay.
My vocabulary. I studied all day. Like I know just so I could learn a bunch of words to throw in here, so I could look really smart.
I'm trying to use the word
pejorative is one of my favorite words.
I'm trying to use resonate. I even have it.
Resonate.
I'm going to use
There
it
you go.
later. I'm going to say resonate.
There it is.
Somewhere.
Yeah. What was the question? Comedy. I don't hate it. I don't like it when it's used as a way to kind of put somebody in the box.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually joked about this the other day, where it's like I don't do comedy wrestling. I tell stories with jokes or something. It's a bit of a pretentious way to put it, but there's an element of truth to that, where I try to think that way, right? Where I think there's a difference between like storytelling that makes you laugh versus going out and doing slapstick carnival style comedy that doesn't really have much depth.
Yeah.
I don't get much fulfillment out of that, and I wouldn't say it's inherently bad or anything, but I think it's selling it short too much. Yeah.
I always get the feeling people put down wrestlers that use comedy in their style, such as yourself, a Warhorse, a Danhausen, hell, a Colt Cabana. I think they look at wrestlers like that like they're doing that because they're not very good at wrestling. But you trained at the Harley Race School in St. Louis, right?
That was I did a camp there. I did a camp there.
That was Vanessa. We had someone else that did the camp there too. Beer City Bruiser. Yes, thank you. He did that same camp there. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been a different year, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But I mean, that's just moronic to think that way, because I mean, I've seen you in the ring when you're not doing you're telling a story with jokes. You got skill. I mean, the match with Josh Alexander, you guys put on a hell of a match. You know,
and I like the action comedy genre in movies a lot. And I always would refer to the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, in particular Guardians of the Galaxy and things of or Thor Ragnarok, movies of that ilk, where they're fantastical action movies, but they still make you laugh. And there's this overall plot with the fate of the universe and everything.
Guardians of the Galaxy is
the
just
subject
like that.
matter of it's pretty serious, but they're enjoyable and you laugh. And I always like my philosophy is to be getting that out of a wrestling match, where I can have moments in it where it's lighthearted and it's funny and everything, but we're still trying to win. Like I'm still trying to win.
Yeah.
And when you get into those final gears, I get the shit in as it were, but I won't hesitate for a minute to stop Moses and put a different beat in there that might make you smile or whatever. And it's a way to stand out, where it makes the character interesting, or like a gimmick interesting, or something like that. But I also genuinely believe it just makes the matches better for the card and for the show. So I'm always trying to do that.
Yeah, I watched a couple matches to prepare and stuff like that, and I was watching I'll get the promotion wrong. Crossbody.
Crossbody.
Yeah, because it was a C and a B, and then the B wasn't connected, so it looked like a W for wrestling, so it was CB. Against Cody Deaner, who we had on, and I don't think I stopped smiling and laughing the entire match, because I know I didn't have any of the story back, like the build up or anything, but you guys are coming out and you're arguing like right off the bat about being a cowboy.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why.
So that one I'd straight up call comedy match, right?
Yes,
That's
that was full
like,
comedy.
yes, yeah.
But it took me,
which is why I'm saying it's not like I'm never gonna say a comedy's bad, but I think there's a difference, right, between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one was so Crossbody. Ben Ortman's like he lets me get away with anything, and it's a good test bed for me.
Yeah.
Because it's low risk,
Yeah.
right? Because I know I'm close with the promoter, so if I do something wrong, I just apologize. He's like, all right, fine.
You're on the next show.
Yeah, and so I tried, to experiment with a lot of things there. So the cowboy thing was actually kind of just me taking the piss, where there was a certain point in time where I think I was I was on Destiny, I was on Smash, and I was at Superkick. So at Smash, I was doing the well-oiled machines with Pepper. At Superkick, I was doing two guys with RJ City, and at Destiny, I was doing this funny dancing gimmick. But I was Psycho Mike across the board, and I didn't really change anything. Like I was still me. I was still doing like my gimmick. I had tag partners, or I would hear music and dance to it, which is completely like in sync with my character, anyways. But people would say like, "Oh man, it's like you're so diverse. Like you're doing something different at every show. Like you're doing a different gimmick at every show." And I would joke. Like I remember talking to RJ at a Super Kick show. I'm just like, I don't think people realize I'm just doing like the same shit, right? Like I'm not any different. And I actually made a joke where I said like I could probably put on a cowboy hat and pretend to be a cowboy, and people would think I'm like reinventing myself. So the whole joke for me was that I will just make this aesthetic change.
Yep.
Like with different trunks and a hat and everything. I'll call myself a cowboy and I'll act the exact same.
Yeah.
And see if people think I'm doing something new when I'm really not.
Yeah.
And it kind of worked. And then what the match you saw, which one did you watch? The Choose Your Own Adventure match, or was it a different one?
It was a different one. There was a horse involved. It was
that was what did I name it?
I can't remember
Billy
either.
Buck.
But Billy Buck. No, Billy Buck
Yeah.
2. This was the second one.
Yes, yeah. There was a story about Billy Buck. I did a Ring of Honor camp a while ago. It was actually with Ethan Page, and it was a tag team one. And but like you just show up. I'm trying to get a job. I'm trying to get work, whatever. So I showed up on my own. And if you didn't have a partner with you, they just paired you up with somebody. And I got paired up with I don't even remember. He was a used car salesman from like Tennessee or something, and he was Billy Buck, and he had like the PVC pants with like chaps on, like he tried to pull off the look and everything, and I adored it, just like the innocence or the sincerity of it. I think is the word. And we would be doing. I'm like, I talked to Julian like during this thing, and it's just like we're so different, right? And I'm like, I can't wait to do this thing, because they wanted us to do promos and stuff together. So like we did. Like I would always just go into these promos and talk about how like Billy Buck was like getting me back to my Western roots and everything like that. And I had so much fun with it. So when I was doing the Psycho Mike as a cowboy thing, I kept thinking about that constantly, and then I just always remembered the name Billy Buck. And I'm like, we did a promo during that, and I was going in about like how him and I, like Billy Buck and I, we're riding our horses in the desert. My name, the name of my horse was Wild Stallion, and Billy Buck, what was the name of your horse? And I caught him off guard. He just goes, Billy Buck. and like, I had to pause. And when you're doing these promos at the camp, there's this camera on you, and like Kevin Kelly's there, Caprice Coleman's there, and they kind of like snicker. I'm like, I gotta keep a straight face. So I was just like, yeah, that's right. I'm on my horse, Wild Stallion, and Billy Buck is riding Billy Buck. And I just got off with the and I thought it was the funniest thing ever. I don't even think he realized he said it, right?
He probably did it.
He didn't realize it, like, because he was so terrified of doing the promos, and I just kept saying, like, just I'll just go, and when I ask you something, just answer the question. So I think I just caught him off guard. But yeah, that's where Billy Buck, the name of the horse Billy Buck, came from, because Billy Buck, the used car salesman from Tennessee, named his horse Billy Buck in some off the cuff promo at a Ring of Honor camp.
I wonder what he's doing now.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
The guy was he was a sweetheart. I'll tell you that much. Yeah.
Do you have a history in improv or theater?
I would not much of a formal one.
Yeah.
I did it. I started. I was like 10th grade once they started doing drama at school, and it was one of the things I enjoyed the most. And then when I graduated, I continued doing like little acting gigs at the community church.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, and then breaking into pro wrestling, and it's weird because when I was doing that stuff, I never got stage fright or anything like that, and I think it was always because I was always like playing a character or something, and so when people were watching it, I never got the sense that they're watching me. Right. They're watching me play somebody else. So if I do something, they're not laughing at me, they're laughing at whoever I'm supposed to be. And then when I started wrestling, I think I cared about it so much more, or I cared what people thought a lot more. And there was that old adage or that old piece of advice where it's the best gimmick is the best characters. You play yourself, but you turn it up to 11. So I'm always thinking, like, I had in my head for so long that I'm myself out there, but turned up to 11. And like, you're talking to me right now. This is me being myself. I move my hands around a lot. My voice is generally pretty monotonous and stuff. And I guess if I turned it up to 11, I would just move my hands around more. I don't know. Like, what is that? Like, who am I? Yeah. And it's nothing. But I didn't really want people watching me, right? As like a person. And then once like Psycho Mike kind of came along, and I kind of had that epiphany, and it's like, I am being myself, but I'm just taking. So when people ask me questions, when they ask me for advice about character or something, I say, well, you know how they say, be yourself, but turn it up to 11? Like, I don't like that. Find what yourself is, what your characteristics are specifically. Like, I move my hands around a lot. I make facial too. I tend to open my eyes. That's one thing that people always think I'm worried, right, or scared, or there's something up, because I have like huge round eyes or something. So I made them bigger and rounder. And then you find those characteristics and you turn those up to 11, right? But then be the character that you want to be. And that's kind of what it is for me. I don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah.
Because I'm just so comfortable doing that. But it's also, I wouldn't call it me,
right.
if that makes sense.
No, I get
I'm
you.
being myself, but it's not me.
Yeah. You mentioned stage fright. Did you have stage fright initially when you started wrestling?
Not for the wrestling stuff. It was specific. I like, yes and no. It wasn't that like I'm afraid of screwing up a spot or anything like that. But it was specifically who I am as a character or personality. And it was very I don't know what the word is. Whatever the opposite of confidence is. Like, I had confidence in being able to hit somebody and slam somebody and make it look good and not hurt anybody. But as a character, as a personality, it was gone, which was weird, because I'd done improv and comedy, or like theater and stuff on, like albeit an amateur level, and I had no problem with it, no problem at all. And then once I got into wrestling, I'd probably call it stage fright. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then it went away.
Yeah.
Now I'm the best wrestler in the world.
Very charismatic.
I will attest that I have seen you live a couple times in Sarnia, and yeah, we've always found you very entertaining, and we enjoy your work.
I appreciate that.
That's the beautiful voice of Vanessa, my producer up in Canada. So she'll pitch these wrestlers to me, and I've gotten into this independent wrestling game late in my life. Like I just never got into it. And she brought me you, she brought Tyler Turva, Tyson Dukes, who else, Vanessa? Who am I missing?
Holden Albright. And I mean, you guys are just great. Like, I'm missing out on all these awesome people, all these awesome characters, all these awesome wrestling. Oh man, I guess I gotta go up to Canada again.
Yeah, it's a Canadian bubble.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So when I first started, like back in 07, so maybe like 05, 06, 07, things were really, really hot here. And it was largely because of, that's when TNA started getting into the swing of things. So the two big shows, independent exposure was Ontario Indie Wrestling with Blood, Sweat, and Ears and UWA Hardcore. And I don't know, maybe it's rose tinted goggles, but I think back to some of these shows and just like I still think they're bigger shows than like anything that I've seen now. But that's probably a bit of rose tinted goggles, but they were like very successful for that time. And you would see on BSE shows, I remember going to one and it was Monty Brown, Rhino. You'd get like Eric Young on Christopher Daniels. I remember Christian Cage was on it. And so they would get a lot of exposure and attention. And over at UWA Hardcore, like M-Dog 20, so Matt Cross was cutting his teeth there. And Alex Shelley, I remember Ultimo Dragon was there for an event. And like a lot of like the who's who of indie wrestling, even today, were like Eric Cannon was Tyler Black, or Seth Rollins as Tyler Black started there. And like even Okada.
Yeah.
I probably saw one of Okada's first matches at UWA Hardcore. So it's kind of nuts, but you think with the internet and everything it would make that exposure easier, but I think it's I don't want to say the word, I don't know if saturated's the right word, but since everything is so accessible, there's just more there. Like there's more to sift through.
Yep. No, it is. It's saturated. That's the word. But yeah, I've been having a blast with it. But to go back to your character for a second, we have a question in the chat from Bob, generic Bob, who says, "Is it hard to switch back to regular Mike after being Psycho Mike?"
No, not at all.
That's the same.
Again, it's because it's I am being myself.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I guess I become a bit more normal and everything. It is odd though because people I think often assume that I would behave that way all the time or something. But no, like I am very much so red lights on the camera.
Yeah.
And I can switch it on and I can do it, but it's kind of like a sprint for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where if I had to do that for like a 3-hour event, I would probably just get tired and burn myself out. And I could be on I guess like it spikes up, right? I could be on like really on for a short period of time, and then like I kind of enjoy
turning it off,
being myself. Like yeah. That's why I'm not yelling at you right now and doing all this.
It's totally fine. It's great.
Yeah.
Your conscience. Now before we had you on, me and Vanessa were trying to say conscience. Conscience. Yeah, your conscience angle.
before I'm gonna want you to describe that to the people in the chat, your conscience angle, and you know what? I'll ask you to do that first. So why don't you let us know what that angle exactly is, how it works in a match, and how did it come about? Did it just did you just say, hey, I'm gonna do this one night?
Yeah, that's
how it happened.
Pretty much it. It's a bit, maybe a bit more nuanced than that. So I started, the first match I did was at Smash Wrestling with Sebastian Suave, and I'll go back a bit more. At a Super Kick show one night, I kind of just had this idea of me doing. I was fighting myself in this match at Super Kick because my opponent got hurt, and it was literally what it was.
I did
it was
watch
like,
this
we don't have a replacement,
yeah,
so like
I
you're gonna fight yourself.
One. Yeah.
And there's a moment in there, and I don't know why I did it, but I just thought it'd be funny if, like, at some point in the process of me fighting myself, like, it just stopped, and then there was just like this interior monologue that would play. About like how did you get yourself into, like, almost like lecturing myself. Yep. It's like, what are you doing? Like, how did you even get into this situation? Like, you're kicking your own ass, and just this tongue-in-cheek thing. But it was at Super Kicked, and it's a very, it's like a rowdy bar crowd, yep. So you couldn't really hear it or anything. So it wasn't as over as I wanted. I still thought it was funny, and then I kind of like had that in the back of my mind a really long time, where I just like I wonder if people wonder what I'm thinking at any given moment in a match, and I really wanted to explore that idea. And then at a Smash show, I had a match with Sebastian Suave, and he's always busy as he's running the show. And so he's just kind of like, I'll get with you like an hour before the show starts, and we'll figure it out. So I was just sitting by myself thinking about it, and I said, like, I think I'm going to do it today. So I started running the idea by everybody, and I just wanted my conscience to speak to me in my match, to explain my thought process about things. So I got into like the booth with Alan, who does the video work, all the production there.
Yep.
And I just did 5 voiceovers, and I made a little story to a match, and I'm like, I guess this is my match. And then Seb came, and I told him, and he's like, okay, I guess that's what we're doing. And all it was the story of that match was like Sebastian like had a cut. He had a bloodbath with Tarek the show before, and he got a lot of color in it. So I did a pre-tape where I was nervous about punching him in the head because I didn't want to make him bleed.
Yeah.
Because blood would freak me out. So we're starting the match, and it was very, kind of cookie cutter, and something like you would see on, in the 70s or the 80s, right? Where like I'd go for the punch, and like, does everybody want to see it and stuff?
Yeah.
And then I can't, right? And we did this for probably 3 or 4 minutes of the match, where everyone's thinking, oh, this is the story that they're telling. And then at some point I'm reaching, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do it. And then the conscience game's like, Psycho Mike, this is your conscience speaking. Punch him in the head, and just starts going. And I started wailing on him and everything. And then the crowd erupted. I was nervous about it.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was like a risky thing, but I thought I had enough goodwill where if it sucked, then they would say, he's usually good. Maybe he'll do better next time. But they really liked it. And then the bit that really stuck was, I was firing up, and then the conscience came, and it's like, Mike's conscience speaking. You left the stove on. And then everyone's like, and then I just had this breakdown in the ring where I'm I'm pleading with the ref, I gotta go, but don't count me out, right?
I got my stove on.
So it's this internal struggle, and then I leave, and then it gets to 9, and then I run back in, slide in, I get cut off, and then we do the rest of the match.
Funny. And
there were a few other things the conscience let me know that his manager was about to attack me from behind, so I could counter it. We did some clever things. And I really liked it. And so I kept exploring more ideas with it. So I probably did it in every match for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And then now I think it's run its course a little bit.
Yeah.
I was hoping that would be the thing, that it was so unique that I don't think anyone's done anything like it. in wrestling.
I've never seen anything.
Nothing even close to it. And I was kind of hoping that something like some vertical slice in a match would go viral, and that would be the thing that would take off and give me my break. And it never really happened with that. And then it actually gets very stressful to do, because it's me speaking into the microphone, and the recording's done like hours before the event. So like we have to know way ahead of time what we're going to do, like what the match is, because you can't change it. And I just write down some very crude cues for them to play it. And I remember when I had a match with Orange Cassidy right as he started, taking off and getting hugely popular. And it was, of course, Psycho Mike versus Orange Cassidy. It's going to be comedy match, and everyone's looking forward to it. And so I'm like, okay, I got to do something with the conscience, right? It can't just be another Orange Cassidy match. Like, I know everybody wants to see his greatest hits and everything, but like, I also want it to be a Psycho Mike match as well. And so I just remember it was hours before the show, and I didn't know how familiar he was with me. Like I was very familiar with his work, and he's kind of like the name on the show. And it's probably like 4 hours before the show starts. He's kind of sitting in the corner, just minding his own business. And I walk up to him. I'm like, "Hey, man, I don't want to sound like a loser or anything, but like we need to call the match now." And he looks up, and it's like I do this conscience thing, and we record it. Like, it's me speaking into the microphone, so we need to like figure it out. And they want it recorded now. And he looked up, and he says, "That's you speaking into the microphone?" So like he was familiar with it, but didn't know I was the ones speaking into it, and it was recorded and everything. He's like, "Oh shit, yeah, let's figure this out." And then we hashed out like a template for a match, so I could get the voiceovers in, and it was just kind of like, all right, well, like, so if we change our mind, it's too freaking bad, because it's already done.
Yeah, you gotta do it.
They got the cues and everything, and like production, like they're stressed out already. So like, this is our match, and then and like, I'll see you in 3 hours, I guess.
I tell you, man, you're so charismatic. You're so creative. Like, that's you don't see that in wrestling today, and I'm shocked that we haven't at least seen you. Like you would fit in great over on AEW with that style.
Yeah, it's
in my mind.
So I like AEW. I don't think like for me as a even as a fan, or in terms of even just motivation, profession, whatever, I don't think it could have happened at a better time, because there was definitely a period.
Yeah.
So I had the injury in 2015, and so I'd say like from late 2015 to for me for the next 3 years, 3 or 4 years, that's when I think I've really come into my own, and where I've been doing my best work, my most creative things, and the work that I'm the most proud of. And like, there was this rut I kind of fell in, where it's just okay, so what's next? Like, you're doing this, it's always like, what do you want to do? And usually it's the end game is something like WWE, right? Or NXT or whatever. And I always think, where it's like, I'm enjoying the stuff that I'm doing now. I'm feeling very fulfilled with like the content, like the quality of the work that I'm doing, and I know they won't let me do it there.
No. And
so I kind of had this moment, like what's the bigger stage that I can have the freedom to do this stuff on? I don't know. And like Japan and DDT was definitely one of those aspirations, and I didn't know. And then like AEW, when the rumors started for that, and then they did their first show, and it's Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, and people of that ilk, that are like very at minimum on board with this type of thing, and done it themselves. Like, they're doing the Being the Elite show, which is still like, it's a very well produced, tongue-in-cheek thing, which is something like right up my alley. And then I was wondering, like, okay, they're trying to make this big show to compete with WWE. Are they going to have to toe that same line where they tone it down and everything? And where it's stylistically the same. And then you see all of the events that they do. They're doing a lot of this fantastical stuff.
Yep.
And then the Stampede match that they did, like they're really, I guess experimenting.
Yeah.
Trying different things, and that's something I've looked at, and just like that is definitely a place that would let me do these types of things, and a place where I think that creativity would flourish. And I kind of just like dream about doing something like What's in the Box on a big stage like that, or doing the conscious gimmick on a big stage like that. And how would it work in a stadium with all those people? Like how would I adapt to that? That's something I would be very, very, very interested in. So that's I'm glad they're doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's given me
motivation.
something to strive for. Yeah.
Motivation. Before we get to What's in the Box, because I forgot about that with the Blade. But you mentioned something a while ago. If you were afraid to punch the guy in the head because you would draw color, because you couldn't do you not like blood?
Yeah. So that was the. I guess, and I don't know. I guess Psycho Mike doesn't know, and so it's funny that you bring that up. So, that wasn't a character trait.
Okay.
Like at that point in time, so we did a pre-tape to establish that, even just for the so the audience could understand.
Gotcha.
But the thing is that like going forward, like I will remember that. And I will. Like this is when I talk about taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Now and forever, that is a character trait of Psycho Mike now. Would be, I don't want to, maybe the fear of blood. Yeah. So if I were to do a match later and my opponent were to start bleeding, I would react to it. Nice. based on that precedent that I set on a show that people probably haven't even, like, I'm on a show over here. And I would honor a precedent I set on a completely different show that audience may not even have seen.
I like that.
Yeah,
I do.
And it's important, in my opinion, to do that type of thing because it's just, I think it's more interesting to watch, and you get more invested in a character when they behave and react to things differently, right? Yeah.
Well, if I'm watching it, first of all, I asked the question because I didn't know if Psycho Mike didn't like the sight of blood or if Mike didn't like the sight of blood. That's what I was wondering. But it's a character trait. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah. In a way, I guess I don't either because I've actually never participated in a match where blood was done intentionally.
Okay. And now you.
So I guess maybe that's me projecting. On my but that's what I'm doing. Where it's like, oh, I don't want to do that. So my character wouldn't do that.
Psycho Mike doesn't like
my character
blood.
Wouldn't. Yeah. Like, no, I'm tough. It's my character. I'm.
But you're right though. That's great. To keep it streamline it through them all, and then people are like, well, wait, why doesn't he like blood? Now I got to go back and I got to watch this match. Then I got to go watch that match.
But it's just like if it happens in a match now, it's like what it will just kind of happen.
Yeah.
And it will just kind of be this organic thing, and like that's what I mean by like being on, right? It's easier for me, I guess, to think of stuff like as it's happening, but I'm not even really thinking of it. It's just kind of ingrained in it. At least, I don't know. I think that the process that I go through dictates, influences that. Yeah.
You talked about What's in the Box. With the Blade. You had mentioned in another podcast, and I apologize, I don't remember the name of it or who it was with. So shame on me. But you said that was one of the matches you keep up high on your pedestal as one of your.
That's the best. Yeah, it's the best match I've ever done.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever top it.
No,
I don't think so.
Can you let us? Let us in on that. What is it? How did it?
So the context of it was I was tagging with can't remember. He was Pepper Parks, got signed, and then with Impact, and then became Braxton Sutter.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Braxton
I can't remember. I think he was Braxton. Yeah, he was Braxton at the time, and we were doing well-oiled machines, and
Okay.
It was getting really over the tag team at Smash Wrestling. And the thing is that like when the tag team started, it was kind of two singles guys, body guys. Just you always got the sense that, oh yeah, they're going to be a tag team for a bit. They're going to split up, have a match, and then go their own ways, right? The stereotypical tag team booking. So when we were going through that beat, we had already known that we were going to get back together and do a babyface run, because that's kind of just where like we were getting popular pretty over at the shows. So that was just kind of the next logical thing. But like, yeah, we're going to tease a split up, and you guys are going to have a grudge match. And the thing is that I kind of wanted to go through the same stereotypical beats where people would understand that we're going to split up, but we'd kind of like subvert the expectation with the grudge match where it'd be stylistically different, because I didn't want to be doing a match with him where we're hitting each other with chairs and stuff like that. Yeah. And then afterwards it's like, I respect you and I want to be your tag team partner again. And then we're suddenly baby faces. I said, we'll do something where we go through the same beats of the stereotypical tag team breaking up grudge match. We'll change the flavor of it so people enjoy it and like it so much that when we get back together that they'll be happy. That was the goal. And so during the split up, what I was trying to do was I'd be sending him, we do a tag match and there'd be some miscommunication, we lose or something like that. So I always like the idea of like exploring storytelling on social media in a way where we behave on it as if we would in real life. A lot of people like take a promo video of them in the car and they'll speak to a camera in a way that they would like never speak to anybody in real life and then post it. But like that's not how we would talk to each other, right? We would be friends growing apart. So what would we try to do? And so I started doing stuff where I made it look like I was trying to like mail him like apology letters and things like that. So I just said like, yeah, I'll just put up a picture of me like putting something, like a little video of me putting something in the mailbox, and then like just put up a tweet like a day from now, like just buy any card at the store and then like sign it from me or something and say, oh Mike, thanks for the card, we're all good, that type of thing. So then we started doing this thing where I was trying to send him a gift.
Okay.
Like I wasn't actually trying to sell it through the mail. It was all the work, right? But I would just be like, hey Pepper, why'd you send the gift back and stuff like that. So then one of the shows I just brought it with me. I had this box that I just wrapped, and we ended up using it in a match, and I got stupidly over. I just hit him in the head with it, and people popped and everything like that. So then our grudge match was coming up, and I kind of wanted to go with this theme of the gifts. I love the idea of gift wrapping stuff, and the example I used is like, I don't know, like you pull out a table and it's like gift wrapped or something. We just kind of reference all the stuff that we're doing. I was brainstorming all of this, and then like when I was talking to the booker about it, he's like, well, there's already a tables match on the show. I'm like, all right, then I'll gift wrap like a chair or something. Like I just want to do one, like it was just going to be one spot. And he's like, oh, there's already a chairs match on the show. And I'm like, well, okay, what's the booking for this? And it was like Tarek and Sebastian in a chairs match at the start, and then it was the Smash Brothers, or I guess the Order, against TDT in a tables match, and then it was going to be Pepper and I in like a singles grudge match. And I'm like, and we don't have a gimmick or anything. Like this babyface run we're going to go on is going to be dead on arrival, right? Like following those two matches. So I was getting really nervous about it, and then just by happenstance, I happened to come across a bunch of boxes, and I just got this idea where I had this little box, like I'm gonna make a bigger box. But I had all of them, and I brought them all with me. I bought a bunch of wrapping paper, and then I just had this idea where it's like, well, we'll do a grudge match. We'll do the same beats of a grudge match, but everything will be replaced with something gift themed, right?
Yeah.
We can't use tables, we can't use chairs, but there's other stuff, right? Well, we use the box instead of a table. We use like the wrapping tube instead of like a kendo stick.
Yeah.
And then I actually wanted to get a bunch of tiny little boxes that you put on a cake, you know what I mean? And use those as thumbtacks, but those are impossible to find. And then we ended up using the ribbons for that instead. And that was done. We were already at the show, and like I had a bunch and I poured it in the middle of the ring, and it was like, this isn't enough. So Matt, one of the referees, went down to a dollar store. And he said, I'm going to get you more. He went down to a dollar store, came back. He's like, here's a bunch more that he bought them in bulk. I couldn't believe how many he got. And he said, and they had balloons that were cheap, like if you want to use them for anything. And we were just about to finish wrapping one of the boxes. And I said, and that's when Pepper was there. He said, like, let's just put balloons in this box. And like the big one, like, and just whatever, like if they go everywhere, whatever it is. Like we had no idea what we were doing in the match yet. We just made all the props, and then we figured out where to like and we knew the order that we wanted to do it in. And then it was actually backstage. I'm like, how do we make this match make sense? And he came up with the idea. It's like, why don't you just say we're going to have a what's in the box match? And he's like, well, I'm like, what is it? And he's like, does it, like, I don't know, like you show the box, like just say it's a what's in the box match. And then like we try to see what's in the box, and then we do our match. So we actually had it like planned pretty meticulously, where, you know, you reveal the first box. So like everyone thinks that's the payoff.
Yeah.
That this box on the stage, like what's in it? And then, you know, we did the rest of the match. We did it with we had the wrapping paper tubes. We did it with the ribbons. And there was a point in the match where I come through the back with an even bigger box that's twice as big as the alleged payoff. And then we do the finish. We did this big superplex into the big box, and then the balloons burst out everywhere.
Oh, perfect.
And the crowd went insane. And you can actually see me on camera. Like we do the suplex, right? And I'm lying there, and you can see me on camera. I hit him, and I point up, and I'm smiling. I'm like, "Hey, man, the balloons came out."
They did it. Perfect.
But Pepper, he's like such a professional. He's just like, we got him. Wait for it. Wait, okay, pin me. And he's being like a full professional. I'm just like marking out for the spot.
That's great.
And then afterwards, we did the bit with Total Eclipse of the Heart. Where
Bonnie Tyler song.
I was like, turn around, Braxton, turn around. And the song played, the crowd got into it. He turned around, we did the big embrace. And then as it died down, he presents me with another box. And this one is the other boxes were crudely wrapped. This one was done really nice. My girlfriend did it, full ribbon. It was like professionally done. And then I open it up, and there's the bottle of oil, and everyone pops because the well-oiled machine.
Yeah, the well-oiled machine.
And so when I'm talking about action comedy and stuff like that,
that's a movie right there.
Like this, it was a funny match.
Yeah,
that was a funny match. But I don't care how egotistical this sounds.
Yeah.
That match told a good fucking story.
Yeah,
because it was, that whole thing was just, to me, a great story, because everybody could identify with it. Everyone's had a friend that they started growing apart from, that they didn't want to. We talked earlier, like with this quarantine, you know, you have to put more effort into relationships and things like that. And it was basically just like two brothers fighting in their basement. And then, you know, afterwards, you know, they're still brothers at the end of it. And we didn't go to a place that we couldn't come back from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're still able to do the grudge match, tell a nice little story, and people were laughing. People loved it, but we took the subject matter seriously, right? So as they're laughing at it, it's not they're laughing at it. They're just enjoying the spectacle of the match. And afterwards, I remember like Veda Scott was there, because Mike Bailey was also on that show.
Yeah.
And I remember Veda Scott coming out, and she had tears in her eyes, like afterwards, because and I was like, I don't know, like to me that's like the pinnacle of what I want to do. It's I want to make people laugh, I want to make people smile, and I want to make them feel right.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about. Where comedy matches, like I wouldn't call that a comedy match. That was a good.
That's a story.
Was a damn good story.
Yeah.
It was a damn good story that told some damn good jokes.
Yeah.
I don't care how pretentious that sounds, but
it's awesome.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen that, go find it. Go find it somewhere. Watch it.
It's if you search "What's in the Box," you'll see a bunch of the seven clips.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt, and then we might be like 11th on the list.
Yeah. Just scroll down.
Yeah.
Something I try to live by on this show is I never like to keep anybody over an hour because time is precious, especially in today's day and age. We're reaching that now if we haven't gone over, but I definitely would love to have you on again sometime because I mean I have a plethora of topics we could just delve into. I use plethora. Plethora is a good word. I didn't use
Plethora is a good word.
I didn't use resonate tonight, but
Look at
that's
that.
okay. Yeah, right.
You're gonna get. I know before the next one, you're gonna buy like a fat thesaurus or something and just start.
Right.
All right, highlight certain words.
Yeah. What I do at the end of every show, I think I just saw a spider crawl across my whatever. What I do at the end of every show is
I like to call them arachnids.
arachnids.
Yeah.
There we go. Next show we're just gonna do a bunch of big words. We're only gonna use big words. And we'll do the entire.
You're gonna have to put like subtitles to put it in like regular
footnote it. Yeah, I agree. I like to give the mic to you, to the guest. You can put over anything you want. You can bury anything you want, plug anything you want. I don't care what you do, Mike. I don't care what you do, Psycho Mike. The floor is yours, my friend.
Well, I have nothing coming up, so I don't have much to plug. Just social media. I am Psycho Mike. Give it just smash that follow button, just to completely destroy it.
Yeah.
Oh man,
You did have Backyard Pro. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh right, yeah, Backyard Pro. So that was just done. I'm thinking future, right? Look at me. I'm so narrow-minded that I'm always thinking of future. Yeah. So Backyard Pro was a little project that it wasn't my project. It was a project of a friend of mine named Jeff, who's Von Vertigo on the independent circuit, who's very, very talented video editor, and so it's a fun little show. We did 2 sets, so season 1, season 2 of 3 episodes each, and so for season 2, I fought a rock for 2 weeks.
A rock or the rock?
Oh, yeah, the rock.
Yeah,
the rock over the course of 2 weeks, which ended up being 3 episodes. So if you look up Backyard Pro on YouTube, you'll see season 2. There will be 3 episodes there, and that's
yeah.
Probably not my proudest moment, but I fought the rock in my backyard.
Yeah, it was good.
It's surprisingly difficult. But yeah, that one's fun.
Yeah, you went from wrestling.
Fun to do that.
You went from wrestling a pillow as a kid to wrestling a rock.
Yeah. The pillow was a better worker.
Oh man,
it was lighter going up.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess that's like the thing I can plug right now is that's what I got going on.
The Rock is the Rock's a stiff worker.
Yeah, he was. I actually like hurt myself because I would hit it, I'd punch it and do forearms, and I'm like, it's a rock. Of course it hurts, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted it to look okay. I already know it's a silly concept, but I have to take it seriously, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, it just looks like a senile man fighting an inanimate object, which is kind of, I guess, what it is. I don't even know what I was trying to say with that.
But you got to take it seriously. Otherwise,
it was Psycho Mike losing his mind in quarantine, and this was how he coped. It's actually very deep, nuanced.
Tells a
story. There's a lot of themes that I explored in it. And my dad was there for the end of it. So
there you go.
Yeah, that's the teaser.
There you go. Go watch it. There's the teaser. Psycho Mike, thanks for joining us tonight. I'd love to have you back on sometime.
How's next Saturday at about 9:30?
I don't know if Vanessa's the boss.
Actually, no, I don't. Actually, I might not be. No, next Saturday might not actually be any good for me. But seriously, we'll figure something out.
We'll get John.
We should just you have the link. You can just kind of jump in when you feel like it. Let's go that way.
You had to tell him that. He's gonna show up and give us the people's elbow.
Is it the same link every time?
Well, no.
All right. Well, don't think you'd lie to me.
I would never lie
so
to you.
Next time we'd ask me how I got started with wrestling again, and I'll tell the exact same story.
You know what your gimmick should be? You just tell a different story every time.
You know, I definitely considered that.
Just
but
every time.
Like in reality, like I don't think I could muster the energy to do that every single time.
Oh man. Great.
But I'd also think like genuinely, because I know everybody doing interviews, they do some form of preparation.
Yeah.
Like for example, you listen to other podcasts, so like if you got a different answer, like it might offend you. Like, oh, hold on, like why are you lying to me? Or
right. But why
are you telling me something different?
Well, yeah, and it was funny because I don't remember what podcast it was, and I'll let you go after this. But you said that you're like, oh, this answer is not very great. It's like I wish it was better.
It's the first question of like right off the get go. They're boring.
Yeah.
It's like,
so
like, I don't know how to tell.
It's the way it is. I feel if I ever went into wrestling, that would be my answer because I'd be like, yeah, I watched wrestling, man. I woke up on Saturdays, I watched wrestling, and I beat my brothers up in my spare time. Like that's it, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, my brother did give me a Death Valley drive to my bedroom wall once.
God. I mean, I have
that pissed my dad off.
I bet.
I brought that one up in my my brother's wedding speech, actually.
Oh man.
But that's something that definitely happened. Where he just called me up. He's like, "Hey, Mike." It's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Let me try something." He put me on his shoulders, just ran me on my bed. And my bed was right against the wall, and my ass went right through it. And he's like, "Oh shit!" So he runs into the bathroom, locks the door, and I'm like, because my dad's like, "What was that?" You could hear him stomping up the stairs. My brother locked himself in the bathroom, and I'm trying to get in. And he left me for the wolves.
He threw you under the bus.
For the longest time, I had this. Even when my dad plastered it, it wasn't painted or anything. So like friends would come over and like, "Whoa, what happened there?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh my God!
Brother gave me
it brings back so many.
At the time, it was the Godfather's pimp driver, though.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and we'll get we'll bring that on. The Godfather's pimp driver.
Give me the pimp driver through my bedroom wall.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. All right, Psycho. We'll let you go. We'll definitely have you back on. You have carte blanche on this show. Look at that, carte blanche.
Boy. Yeah. How do you not? I don't know how to pronounce that. I've
only
only seen it written in text. I always said it as carte blanche.
Oh, maybe
now I look unintelligent.
I don't. Maybe that's the right way to say it.
I'm hoping so.
I get it from Howard Stern's
I don't like
Private
coming
Parts
on these
movie.
things and looking stupid.
You'll be fine. Look, you're next to me. I'm standing here behind a bar that says Dick Star CK City on it.
Yeah.
You can't look any worse than this. Anyways, have yourself a wonderful night and a phenomenal weekend, I guess.
Thank you. This is great, and I'm glad that you didn't get whisked away in a tornado during this conversation.
Nobody took me away.
I probably wouldn't have been able to sleep after that.
We'll see you around. Have a good night.
Okay. Take care. Thank you.
Bye. Oh, that was great, Vanessa.
This guy's called the Standing Streamer.